We played Season 9 for a few days now, and we have some new hot takes this week, starting with Junkrat. First of all, they said, Dustalize said, Junkrat needs a rework now. They literally removed his 2-shot burst, and now he is literally pointless. The only way he will ever be good is bringing back the 2-shot, which doesn't seem possible at the moment, I assume they wanted to say. All his abilities seem bad. He can't even one-shot a trapped target now, and there isn't a way to fix it. It's only going to make people more pissed about running into RNG nades. TLDR, Junk is horrible, and they can't fix him unless they over-buff him. Okay, so first of all, I will say, I mentioned this yesterday, I do think Junkrat's probably one of the worst DPSs to play on this patch. I agree with this. I wouldn't say he needs a rework per se, but he might need a little bit of tuning. Depends on the playstyle that Overwatch wants to promote. So they're not wrong when they say people are more annoyed about the RNG nades. The RNG nades with the bigger natural projectile size is the annoying part, but it's not even that threatening anymore because, again, obviously everybody has so much more HP. I sort of agree with this. I don't actually think it's a big hot take. It's a little bit too much hyperbole for me saying he's pointless. It's not great, but yeah, he does need some tuning. And there's a part here where it says they can't kill a one-shot trap target. You can't, but you have to hit some back-to-back. Two nades plus a mine or something, right? I played with Craigie last night, and he played Junkrat for half a round, and Soft and Envelope. They're all saying, yeah, he's pretty trash, but like, he was doing all right with him. But then there's obviously so many better options. I think in the high end, yes. In the low ends, if people weren't playing the flank rat style anyways, that wasn't so much of a problem. So I think on the bottom half of the ranks, Junkrat's, I guess, still kind of annoying with a little bit of the pressure there. But yeah, absolutely. I think you just tweak his nade numbers to what should be a fair amount. And then the mines used to be 120, they nerfed it to 100, and then they brought it back to 110. So maybe 125 will be okay for everything. 2 mines at 125, primary at 125, just in case they receive a little tickle of healing, they don't get the benefit of the one-shot burst. If they're trying to remove burst damage, 125, the exact number back-to-back should be good. So you have to really do like a perfect shot nade. If you catch them off guard, like I'm a 250 HP walking and I can't react, the Junkrat's around the corner, he should still pull off the combo if he's skilled enough. So yeah, maybe 125. So there's still that burst threat, but like if it happens to be like across map, like medium range where you land a shot and then a mine, but it's not perfect, they're pretty much one shot. But yeah, Junkrat's tough because now you have to hit 1, 2, and a third shot. And the third shot is a little harder because he's an arcing projectile hero. Definitely like on the bottom tier for DPS. Not the hottest take in the world. Agreed. Hot take, high skill ceiling does not mean a character should automatically be good. Best examples are Doomfist and Ball. I personally don't like playing with them, but I don't think anyone enjoys going against those twos. Yet they are some of the highest skill ceiling heroes in the game. Fun for the people who master them, but horrible for literally everyone else. I disagree. I think this is kind of a hot take. I think if you are more skilled, a high skill ceiling, if you are more skilled, you should be rewarded. And I think you should inherently get more value. Not by much, but you should be rewarded for practicing like really cool techs and performing some really high mechanical skill stuff. Like, why not? The problem is the opposite, where like you have very low skill floor heroes who get too much value for the amount of input it requires. They should still be serviceable, but it should not be that egregious. But yeah, you should be like 5 or 10% better if you're gonna do some cool shit with it. So then it just requires a little bit of extra tuning, but like I'm saying, the blanket statement of saying high skill ceiling doesn't mean it should be good, I don't agree with. Heroes like Moira on this patch are very good, and she's not very hard to play. A little bit of a skill issue, but in this person's case, but yeah. My hot take is that if they're gonna put Wrecking Ball's grapple on a cooldown when he respawns, they should also do it for Doom Punch. Moira Fade, Lucio Amp It Up, Tracer Blinks, Reaper Wraith, Shadow Step. Why is Ball the only one when the other stall heroes don't? Doesn't seem fair. Agreed. They added the cooldown for Ball at the beginning back in Overwatch 1 when he was stalling on 2 CP at the end of it. I don't think he needs it anymore. If heroes like Doomfist can punch slam out of spawn on Eichenwald second and make it all the way to first off the rip, I don't understand why Ball is gated that way. Instead of adding it for everybody else, a cooldown, which would probably feel bad, you could just remove it for Ball. It's whatever, to be honest with you. To be honest, they should remove Meteor Strike and make Doomfist's ult overcharge him and make him DPS Doom for like 10 seconds. Okay. Another DPS Doomfist player from Overwatch 1 who just misses the good old days. This just screams like, bring back, you know, 6v6. Anybody who obviously enjoyed a previous iteration of a hero will always say they should do this that they enjoyed in the past. I understand your feelings, but no. Sigma is one of, if not one of the worst designed tanks when he is exceptionally strong. The game becomes insanely slow paced and can really feel like it comes down to who has the better DPS to get a pick. Not sure if this is how it feels in every rank, but at least for me in GM1, every one of my games on Havana, Junkrat, or Circuit Royale are just really lame because if you don't pick Sig and they do, it's incredibly hard for you to win. He should probably be reworked IMO. Believe it or not, yes, Sigma's good on those maps in his core, but I've actually seen some teams run like some faster brawl on Circuit as well. Same with Junkrat and same with Circuit. It's actually not even always Sigma on those maps. Yes, Sig is good, but like you can certainly still win with other picks. I don't know, have you guys ever tried like Lucio Ram Brawl or like Rhine Brawl on Circuit, or even some weird shit on Junkrat? A lot of teams still run like Winston on second and third and stuff too. You don't have to play Sigma there. So I think Sigma's a really well-designed tank. He was just overtuned on release in 2019 with too much shield and everything. He does do a lot of things great, so he's pretty resistant to a lot of meta shifts because he's always a stable pick. I guess in an average rank game in GM1, it's easier for a group of randoms to coordinate with poke than it is to coordinate with like dive or brawl. Dive or brawl with like a Lucio and everyone engaging and going together is way harder to do. Same with dive, 3-2-1ing and ranked versus everybody Sigma setting up here poking, and then you just have two snipers just out of voice chat and they just sit there and snipe. By default, it's easier to just do. That's the reason why it can feel annoying. Hot take. Dive is one of the best metas. I wouldn't say it's a hot take. A lot of people agree with that. This meta, however, is one of the hardest to make because it requires coordination. Meanwhile, in ranked, people are rarely found in comms choosing poke or brawl because it doesn't require comms. Blizzard right now trying to force a dive meta, but I don't think it will happen. Okay, there's like three contradictory things. You wrote dive is one of the best metas. Okay, sure. But then you said this meta is hard because it requires coordination. What do you mean, however? Didn't you just say dive is the best? But that requires the most coordination. I'm confused about the rest of this. Oh, you're saying this meta as like dive is the hardest to make because of comms. Okay, wait, never mind. I'm just reading it wrong. That's why I was just saying in the previous one, poke is the easiest to just do because it's ranked without comms. But like, that's why when you go play in Asia servers, dive is everywhere because I guess people are just cobbing harder and playing it. I wouldn't say Blizzard's trying to force a dive meta. They just kind of make tweaks and whatever shows up on top shows up on top. And honestly, as the season has begun so far, this was from 5 days ago, so this is probably on the old patch, but even as of right now, everyone's just trying everything right now. I don't think anything is solidified. I've seen Ball dive right now, Winston dive yesterday. I was playing with Boger. People are playing Sig on a bunch of maps. A lot of people are playing Diva randomly, which is a little bit of a hybrid. You're not hard diving, you're kind of just peeling and being annoying. I saw some Ram, Orisa Brawl. It's all over the place. Nothing is settled at this time, so Blizzard's certainly not forcing a dive meta. You said dive is one of the best. A lot of DPS players will agree because they love playing Tracer and fast movement heroes. High movement equals fun for a lot of players. I'm just a person that doesn't personally like dive that much because I don't like being the target. Because if you run dive, a lot of times the enemy teams mirror dive, and who's target number one in dive? Me. If you run Ana Brig dive, they will still go for me as the Ana. I need my Brig to be locked the fuck in to protect me. Or if it's like the Lucio dive and I'm like, I guess Kiriko, then I survive a bit more. But I hate being target number one. That's why. Hot take. Map decorations and ornate edges of walls should not be physical geometry that the player can get stuck on. The most frustrating thing about playing Overwatch compared to every other competitive game I've played is how often I find myself unable to move because my character is being slowed due to collision detection with a potted plant. I agree. Not a hot take at all. I have like so many clips of me getting stuck on like a garbage can. This happened like literally like 2 months ago. Hanzo Dragon was coming and there's a fucking random garbage can here that trapped me. And I got hit by a full dragon because I couldn't move. There was this light post that landed randomly. There's a little like lamp on the bottom of 3rd point Rialto, and I threw a nade, an Ana nade, but because there's that little lamp, a little like ground light, it hit that and it ate the entire splash nade, so nothing in it got hit. So not a hot take. Agreed. Remove like certain map decorations. You can keep it cosmetic, but keep it flush to the wall. And I know a lot of players, Lucio players, and me, as someone who plays Kiriko and tries to wall climb things on like Pariso second, I get that you want the texture of like the walls and stuff, but you can't wall climb up certain things. And if you're a Lucio, there's just like juts that kind of like stick out and it's just kind of annoying to navigate. I'm all about like flat walls, like kind of like Valorant, where most of the walls are very smooth. They look very nice, but they have like they look indented, but it's like a smooth surface for the sake of balance and competitive things. You know what I mean? Hot take, hero bans already exist. I play a lot of ball in GM lobbies, but since there's such a small handful of players in GM, if anyone from my team or the enemy team from my previous match queues into my next match, they come out of the spawn doors with Sombra or Mei. Okay, this is the hot take because no, it's not. You're not banned from playing the hero. It's a skill issue. I literally played against Chasm yesterday. He's one of the best balls, and I was playing with Craigie in our ranked queues yesterday. And Craigie and Chasm are very familiar with each other because they play against each other in EU. Chasm's one of the best balls on EU, if not the best. And Craigie literally came out of spawn with Sombra. And he still made it work because he's just very skilled on ball and just knew how to like maneuver around it and play around it. We played like 2 or 3 counters and he still shit on us. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's tough. Like if you're gonna one trick a hero, like if you play ball, if you're gonna one trick a hero that has pretty hard counters, you really got to learn how to play around them. You know, obviously the players who are getting countered may like bitch about it and complain, but at the same time, they're very good. So like they've managed to work around. It may not be fun, but that's just the price you pay. If you really want a more enjoyable experience, you're gonna have to swap if they do that for you. Next hot take. The self-heal passive is barely going to change anything. All it's going to do is help people who have a brain dead supports. So this was taken on February 10th. The patch is hit. We've had a few days. Do you guys even notice the DPS and tank self-healing in a team fight? Because I'll tell you right now, in the middle of a team fight, you don't notice it. The only times it's good is after a team fight's over and the support was dead, and then they actually survived the fight, and it's like team kill. They actually regenerate a bit. It's only then. But in a team fight, the tank DPS passive is never active. So the self-heal passive doesn't change anything except for like the post-fight. If the enemy team has a chance to re-engage or retouch and all your supports are dead, that's a time where it actually applies. But I played 80 games and I saw it like 2 or 3 times where I was like, oh, that actually looked a bit game-changing because they actually got extra health and were able to hold the space while waiting. That being said, I did see like a Tracer or a Widowmaker, but they took a bit of poke. They just kind of moved away for a bit and then they ended up healing. So that's actually, I lied. There's a few more situations. I wouldn't say it barely changes anything, but some heroes definitely did get a little bit of benefit than not, for sure. It doesn't feel overpowered by any means though. It felt kind of nice. Did anybody here play tank or DPS? Any Widow players here probably like, oh, I got poked, but it's actually kind of nice to sit back a little bit and not have to like, you know, ask your support, hey, turn around for me. It's like, oh, okay, I could just chill for a bit. Or as a Rhine player, you took a bit of damage, your supports are dead, you drop your shield, but you hide around the corner for a little bit. It's like, oh, I got a little bit of life back. Not too much, but enough to like not feel terrible. Before a match starts in the lobby, players should be given 2 or 3 options to vote on the map they want to play. People have been asking about like map voting and map vetoing. I'm not opposed to it. There's already like 25, 30 maps in the game. You're never gonna like every single map in the game. As long as they fix the bad, egregious ones where most people feel like it's not fun. Like Junkertown, the new Junkertown feels pretty good. They just have to tweak like Circuit Royale next and Havana. And honestly, I like most of the maps in the game. I don't hate them enough to want to veto them all the time. It's a little refreshing. I think forcing yourself to play on the same maps all the time may get a little monotonous. I'm mixed on this take, whether you should vote for maps or not. I like the randomness a little bit sometimes too. Because if you just end up voting, people just vote for the same maps all the time, then certain hero picks will become stronger there, and then people will run into metas or maps that they can't play their favorite hero on because they're not as good. So the randomness is okay for me. Nano boost should never be used on a full HP target. The sole exception is nanoing your full HP soldier, Sojourn, or Genji that is about to ult. So you're telling me never nano a Winston, even if he's full health, if he's gonna say 3, 2, 1, I'm going in, and he's jumping in at full health. He's full health, which means you're never supposed to nano him. Or your high energy Zarya is full health, but she's under full energy and zapping them. And you know, you're not gonna go for the damage boost? Okay. All right. Interesting take here. Hot take, the next one. The scoreboard needs to be removed. Wow. All it shows is stats with no context, and it ends up assigning blame to the wrong person most of the time. I'm not saying we should be going back to gold medals, but maybe something like the scoreboard should only show your stats. Wait, you just said all it does is show stats, but then you're saying you should have a scoreboard that only shows your stats. Oh, only your specific own stats. My bad. I have bad reading comprehension. This was actually the reason why they said they didn't have the scoreboard in Overwatch 1, because they didn't want people to show the empty stats and feel bad. But then now that they actually added the scoreboard, now some people, not all, like this person is backpedaling a bit, maybe insane. People are gonna blame me because it has empty stats, which is true. The scoreboard certainly doesn't show everything. And I feel like most people do. Exactly. They only go to the scoreboard to look for something. I feel like any rational person, or actually everybody should understand that the scoreboard doesn't. You've all had a bad game where the stat score wasn't great, but like you're still having impact. They'll only do that as a scapegoat to deflect blame. The scoreboard is there to deflect blame, even though deep down they know it doesn't actually truly matter if you still win the game. It's more to flex and feel better about themselves if like they lose the game and they see they have better stats than the enemy mirror tank that's like, oh, I'm still diffing them, I swear. Scoreboards can just kind of show contextual stuff. It is sort of like, it doesn't give us much data in this game simply because even if you're 30-1, it's not like you're stronger because you have 30 kills. It probably means you're performing well, but like it doesn't matter because you're not getting boosted stats with it or some sort of like improvement by having more kills. Games like League, where actually seeing a person that has like 15 kills early on actually means something, because you have to avoid them because they are stronger, because they got more kills, they got more gold, they're higher level, they have more items. That matters, but in this one, not really. But I don't think the scoreboard needs to be removed. That's too much babying and the whole like people assigning blame. No matter whether you have a scoreboard here or not, people will always assign blame anyways. Overwatch 1, people blamed you anyways. A little easier to mask, I suppose, or hide, but they'll pick something else to pick apart. They'll do the whole, I got gold medals, I have gold damage. I think having more transparent stats is fine. It's whatever. A tank diff is really a support diff in disguise. Mauga proves this to be true. This is probably a tank player that got diffed by the other tank and is saying, you're only better than me because your supports were better. Sometimes you will have games where the other supports are better and it feels like you're hitting a wall, but if you're truly a goated tank player, you can work around whatever's happening. The thing is, if you're a good tank player or just a good player, adaptability is a skill or like part of your skill set that people overlook. If you're like a one-dimensional tank player and you notice their supports are pocketing their tank, why are you still taking like a 1v1? It's not even a 1v1, it's a 1v2 where you're up in the front. They clearly have support resources, you don't. Your support's all the way in the back. You get rolled and then you blame the support rather than looking at you for making the terrible decision to 1v5 or 1v2 or whatever. You're not using your cover, you're not using your brain, you're not taking a different angle and sneaking up and doing certain things. Like, you have to look within yourself. Next hot take. Supports are OP because of Asia. Asia plays a lot more dive characters, which targets supports. And nerfing them to an acceptable level for other regions would screw over Asian players. I'm Asian! Nerfing them. I'm Asian. If you nerf them, it would screw me over. That's right. Me, my race matters in Overwatch. Holy fuck. Some of these takes are so absolutely wild. I know he means the region. I know. I'm taking this outrageous take and having some fun with it. Okay, now let's do the realistic answer here. No, supports are not OP because of Asia. Yes, Asia plays dive, but that's because, I don't know, that's just they prefer. EU players love playing Rhine and Ramatra and stuff, apparently. Asia loves playing dive, and nerfing them to an acceptable level would screw over Asian players. It's very region specific. It would screw over a lot more players than just Asian players. The realistic answer is nerfing any hero would... Nerfing any role would screw anybody who plays that role. Hot takes. Roles shouldn't exist anymore. No more tank DPS healer. All heroes have a use, but you shouldn't have to use anyone. The game already moves to a normalized state with the recent changes, and I believe a greater normalization than Season 9 changes and remove the restrictions on 2-2-1 altogether would be beneficial for the future of the game. Hot take. Elo Hell is absolutely real for mid-level players. I'm a plat level DPS, so I personally do really well in bronze to gold lobbies, but I'm not good enough to carry if my other team members completely suck. Skill issue. If you are simply better than your competition, you will climb. Anybody always says it's my bad team members, I can't carry. If you are a gold player and you play like a gold, you will continue to be gold. You said you do very well in bronze to gold because you're a plat player. So if you're platinum and you play enough games, you will get out of gold and eventually hit plat because that's where you belong. If you're not good enough to carry in plat, then you're just playing like a plat. If you want to be a diamond player now, you have to play like a diamond, so you hit diamond. That just means you're simply playing still like a plat, so you're gonna stay in plat. It's not that hard. I feel like they should make Sojourn into a glass cannon in the upcoming patch by keeping her at 200 HP or lowering her to 175. So this was 4 days ago. The patch is hit. Sojourn is very good on this patch. For the scale of everybody else getting all that extra HP, if Sojourn is very good, does she need nerfs right now? I would say, and if anything, probably just like the rate of charge for energy could be something to look at if you really wanted to tackle her. But Sojourn traditionally does perform lower at lower ranks, but she is a lot easier now because she double dipped on the buffs, as I was saying. Because number one, the SMG projectiles are bigger now because of the patch, which does mean you're inherently building energy faster. And then the secondary rail shot is so easy to hit now because your rail width increases based on how much energy or charge you have. She doesn't one-shot still, but because the SMG shots are so easy, you can whittle them down low enough that your follow-up rail should kill them now in a DPS rotation against a good Soj. So the Soj is strong, so maybe the rate of energy is something to tweak if we're keeping the projectile size consistent. Overwatch wants you to hit your shots and get the dopamine rush. That was their intention, which is true. That's why I've been enjoying this patch. Hitting my stuff feels great right now. But on the same vein, there are some outliers that need to be looked at least on the high level, and I do think Sojourn is really, really good at the high level right now. Anyways, leave your hot takes in the comments. We'll take a look at them next week. Okay, peace.